There's a movement right now to eliminate the teaching of American slavery from public schools altogether, and to eliminate the teaching of racism in America from public schools altogether. And then on top of that, you got a movement by black folk to counter that, which is the critical race theory that posits that the enslavement of African people is the central historical event in the creation of the United States of America. I agree with that. But here's the problem I got with the CRT. Why do we need white folks to approve a curriculum to teach black children about the evils of American history? Why do we keep going to white people to get validation every time we come up with something that we feel we need? If we want to teach our children the history of America, you got a black church on every other corner, why can't you teach it there? You got a community center in every neighborhood, why can't you teach it there? Why do we got to go to the slave master and say, slave master, can you please baptize critical race theory so we can go back and teach it to black children? The reason we want white folks involved is because we want to be accepted by white folks, we want to be validated by white folks, and we want to be loved by white people. One of the reasons black people have not made more progress in the 52 years since Dr. King's murder is because you, unlike any other people who have been through revolutionary struggle, are in love with the person you're struggling against. This is why so many educated black men date outside the race. This is why most black professionals live in a white neighborhood. And this is why so many black women spend a large percentage of their disposable income trying to imitate European beauty standards. If you want to be free of white people, there must first be psychological equality before there can be political equality. There must be psychological equality before there can be economic equality. You cannot imitate another person and then claim you think you equal to that person. That is impossible. The mere fact that you imitate your oppressor confirms that you think he's superior to you. Because if the white man is not my superior, I do not need his woman. If the white man is not my superior, I do not need to look like him. If the white man is not my superior, I do not need to live in his neighborhood. Too many black people are hypocritical by claiming that you love being black, but your whole life is an imitation of the Anglo-Saxon. I want to say, brothers and sisters, before the year is out, I'm going to be holding 5 political conventions around the country. One of them, and the first one, going to be right outside of Atlanta. It might be in Atlanta. The political convention is to build a national black political union. Because I'm of the opinion that we have to get out of the Democratic Party. We have to get out of the Republican Party, the Green Party, because all these political parties are white racist organizations. The Republican Party is a white racist organization. The Democratic Party is a white racist organization. And the reason we have to build our own political union, separate from the white institutions, is we will never be taken seriously as long as we continue to pledge allegiance to the Democratic Party, who has done nothing for black folks ever since you've been joining it. Okay? We came over to the Democrats during President Roosevelt's time back in the 30s during the Great Depression because we thought the Great Depression had something in it for black folks. And 60 years later during the Civil Rights struggle, when Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill and the Voting Rights Act, we kept on coming over to the Democratic Party, and we've been coming and coming and coming. It ain't stopped since, and nobody has asked the question, what has the Democratic Party done for black folks? You went out to the polls in November to put Joe Biden in there. What has Joe Biden done for black folks? Not one thing. His first day of office, he signed a bill for the transgenders. Okay, you want to protect them? No problem. What about protecting us? And then you signed a historic anti-Asian hate bill. Where's the anti-black hate bill? We never got one of those yet. So he's going around taking care of everybody except us, and it's our fault. Because we're the only people in America who vote without an agreement before Election Day. Nobody votes without an agreement before Election Day except black folks. And you wonder why you don't get anything after you vote. And then you have the black bourgeoisie and the black coon Illuminati, whose job is to protect the white power structure by keeping Negroes in their place. And they control black folks by giving us not empowerment programs, but poverty programs. What is the difference between a poverty program and an empowerment program? A poverty program keeps you in poverty, but it allows you to survive. An empowerment program enables you to get out of poverty so you can thrive. The poverty program is about surviving, and the empowerment program is about thriving, and we don't really have either one in the black community. So you got 5 groups of Negroes in New Jersey, and I'm excluding our good mayor from this because he does not fit the definition, but there's a lot of other ones who do. So these 5 groups include your politicians, your preachers, your black business community, your black civil service officers, and your black scholars. These are the 5 groups that white supremacy uses to deflect attention away from it and throw it back on you. So for example, if they go to the scholars and the politicians and the preachers, and they say, why are so many black men in Newark, New Jersey killing each other? You know what they're going to say? We don't have no morals. We don't have enough Jesus. We don't have enough Muhammad. The fathers won't stay out of jail. The mothers ain't married. Too much hip hop, sagging pants, basketball and football. Everything they just named might be a contributing factor, but it is not a cause. The reason black men are killing each other in Newark, in Philly, and New York, and everywhere else is the same reason. 100 years ago, the Irishmen were killing each other. The same reason 100 years ago. Jewish men were killing each other. The same reason 100 years ago. Italian men were killing each other. And what was that? Frustration due to a lack of educational and economic opportunities. The mother of all violence is miseducation. The father of all violence is economic castration. I don't care if you're dealing with Mexican men, black men, Chinese men, Arab men, Jewish men. If you do not give them a decent education, and if you do not create livable wage jobs that enables them to stop breaking the law in order to take care of themselves, there will be violence. So why every time we hear about black on black violence, we don't hear about jobs? Why every time we talk about black on black violence, we don't hear nothing about the economy? Why every time we talk about black on black violence, you don't hear anybody talking about let's put millions of dollars into Newark in order to give these black men coming out of prison and black women an opportunity to start their own business? Whenever they talk about black violence, they talk about more police and more prisons. And guess what? The black bourgeoisie never corrects the narrative. And the black church is the most dangerous of the 5 families of the black bourgeoisie, because the black church is the most influential of the black bourgeoisie. And I don't have a problem with black religion. I'm a descendant of preachers myself. But I have a problem with an institution that convinces black people to accept hell while you claim to be about the business of heaven. I have a problem with an institution that collects so much money from black people but does not use it to create the opportunities that black people need. In other words, slavery would have ended 100 years sooner had it not been for the black church. Even though the black church was the vanguard, even though most of our leaders came from the church, that's only a small group. The larger black church was not interested in fighting for freedom during the Civil War. The larger black church wanted us to continue to pray and wait. And brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you that you cannot pray and wait for justice. You cannot pray and wait for liberty. You cannot pray and wait for independence. You cannot pray and wait for equality, because any religion that teaches you to pray and wait for your oppressor to change his mind is a religion that works for the oppressor.